Hello, Falava, everybody. Welcome to week number 6 of our Samoan language class. We're going to start off with our review. Did I record? Yeah. So we're going to start off with our review. So let's take I imagine it wouldn't take we shouldn't take 10 whole minutes, but let's go to about 8 after the hour and do this review, and then we'll go back through it together, and then we'll move on to questions. We're going to start questions this week, and then some other things, a group exercise if we got enough time for that. So yeah, 8 after the hour. If you guys want more time, we can do that, but let's stop at 8 for now. If you have questions, I'm in the chat. All right, so hopefully we're able to get a few of them, if not all of them. But if not, don't worry, we're going to go through each one and do a review. So does anyone have number one? Vocalifia.
Wakali kasi.
Yep, Wakale Kasi or Watalitasi. Either one, T style, K style. And remember, all we're doing is when the simplest one I think would be this, when it's right on the hour, then we're saying it has struck the one. So the question is Uata or Ukalifia. So the rest of this, you can see that here, it's all the same. It is struck, or it is struck. And when we're talking about it is, we're saying the time, the one. Okay, so all we're really doing here is we're changing the fia, because we're saying fia in this context means how many. It's not like fia I, fia moi, that kind of fia. This one here means number. So has struck the one. Great. Now these down here are a little bit more complicated because we're adding more to the sentence structure. So, and there's a certain way that we have to do it. So does anyone have 627? How do we translate that into Samoan? Or for just about all of these, till we get to the very end, because I don't think we talked about that. Our tense, like if someone asks you what time it is, remember that you're updating them. So you're saying it has struck, it has become this, it has become that. So just about all of these answers, unless you said toititi or koikiki. So that's another way to answer this question as well. But if we're just going to answer it straight up, does anyone have the one that starts? Well, actually, there's a couple of different ways we could start it with ua. But if we were to say ua, then how would we finish this one?
Ua 17 minute e te a'aila ono.
Yep, ua sefulu fitu minute. And then, okay, so let's break it down piece by piece. So we have ua, that's our tense. And then we're describing, our adjective would be lua sefulu fitu minute. So 20, we have two tens. So this is going to be our 20. And then fitu is 7, minute. And then after. So whenever we're talking about a time after, so our reference is going to be ete'ai. Ete'ai. Okay. So we said our tense, we said our adjective is lua sefulu minute. I'm sorry, lua sefulu fitu minute. And then we put our reference point, or not a reference point, but ete'ai, which just means after, and then leono. Leono. All right. So we have it has struck, or it has become, or it is now 27 minutes after the 6th. After the 6th. Or lua sefulu fitu minute ete'ai leono. Any questions on that? So it's really impressive when people are able to, like, someone asks you what time it is and then you're able to spit it back, in Samoan like that. So this is a good thing to practice. Every time you see numbers, of course you have to practice your numbers, but then practice putting them in this, or replying in Samoan with the time. Okay. So what if we were to say toititi or koikiki? What's one way we would say that? This 627. Remember that one? That was toy et. I still don't know how to spell it. Koikiki.
Ua
So
toititi paleono.
yeah, so yeah, you could say technically, yeah. So koikiki, and then afale. Oops, I'm sorry. Apa leon. I'm sorry. Is that what you said? I'm not sure. I didn't look over it to see who said that. What
Yeah.
is that? Okay, yeah. So it's just pretty soon it's half to 6. It has become soon half to 6. It's basically it's almost 6:30. Okay. So that's and then we can do that with number 3 too. We could use koikiki or we can do the exact time. So whichever one you guys got, what's number 3? It could be either ua, koikiki, or whatever else you have. Oh, sorry. Someone answered. Oh no, that's a AI thing.
이제 저의 루미누체 레드모
Yep, with Joy Lua, Minute, Ile, and then what was the last one?
리모
Lima. Yep, with Joy Lua, Minute, Ile Lima. So it has become, it has become before 2 minutes to the 5, to the 5. So, okay, whenever our time or our time is moving to a location, so our reference point is going to be 5 and the time is moving to the 5. So anytime you see a toy, then in that statement we're going to have a preposition, the e. Okay, ile lima, ile, wherever the time is moving to, that's going to be our reference point. So o toy lua minute ile lima. Awesome. And then the same thing, if we want to say it's almost 5, it's finna be 5, it's about to be 5, how would we say that?
Ua toititi tale lima.
Yeah. Ua toi iti tale lima. It's about to be 5. So it has become pretty soon struck the 5. It has become pretty soon struck the 5. It's about to strike 5. It's about to become 5 o'clock. Okay, great. I have to erase all this stuff. All right, 11:15. How do we say that one? This is another one that's kind of straightforward. Like I guess like number.
이제 우어 구아타 레세풀자스
Yep, Kuatale Sefulu Tasi. So it has now become, or it's become quarter the 11. So Kuatale Sefulu Tasi. That's it. Awesome. More than likely that's the way you're gonna hear it. And then how about this one? This is similar to number 4. Just a different word we switch up.
우어 아팔레톨
Yep, Afa Le Tolu. Awesome. So half to 3, 3:30. It has become half to 3, 3:30. So, and then the last 2, you're asked to translate this. First of all, so we said ito fiatama ilevaenga. And vaenga, someone messaged and said, do you mean vasenga? Vasenga means class. But vaenga, you'll hear vaenga a lot. That just means like group or part or section or something. But so I just put group for this one. So vaenga. So ito fiatama ile vaenga. And how would we answer? Well, first of all, what is that? What is this saying right here? Ito fiatama ile vaenga. So
How many boys in the class in the group?
Yeah, how many boys in the group? So to afia is how many, and we know that if it's just ifia, we're saying how many, or we're asking how many. But if we say eto'afia, every time you see a to'a, then we're asking about people. But to be more specific, we have our I don't know if you want to call it adjective, but if we're going to be more specific, we talk about what kind of people that we're looking for after the to'a. So we say eto'afia tama. So how many boys? How many boys in the group? How many boys in the group? I le vainga. And so what would our reply be? And one of these, I wasn't sure if it was a boy or girl. So it's not so much about the number. It's about if you reply, correctly. Anyone have that answer? So we'll count them together. So kasi, lua, kolu. This is the one I wasn't sure about. Fa, okay, fa. Yep, fa. And then so it's either fa or lima. Either one. So if we were gonna just say it's 5, then how would we say that?
Lima.
Yep, lima. So most of the time people will just abbreviate. They won't say lima tama. We could say that, or we could just say lima. So we already know that we're talking about people. So anytime you're talking about people, just make sure you say to'a. You put that prefix in front. And if you're the one asking a question, or someone asks you, when they say to'afia, we already know we're talking about people. So you have to listen or read and find out, what kind of people are they talking about? Boys, girls, men, women, or whatever. Okay. Awesome. Lima. And if it was 4, we say to'afa. So, yep. All right. So how would you ask what time? What time is the volleyball game? Sorry, I didn't have that pulled up. What time is the volleyball game?
Olea le taimi o le ta'alonga volipolo.
Yep. Olea le taimi o le ta'alonga volipolo. I think I spelled everything correctly. So remember in our last class, the basically the phrase was oleale te miole, and then whatever it is, right? So we're saying what time is so oleale te miole, and you just basically fill it in. So ta'alonga means game, volleyball is volleyball. So our main, the main part of the noun, or the noun is game, and we describe the game as volleyball. So since that's the description, we put it afterwards, just in case anyone wonder why we said it that way instead of volleyball ta'alonga. No, it's ta'alonga and then volleyball. Volleyball is going to come after that. So oleale kemi ole ka'alonga volleyball. And so awesome. So what time is the volleyball game? And then what would be the reply if this is I don't even know if you guys saw that over there, but so if based on this clock, oleale kemi ole ka'alonga volleyball.
Ole valu.
Or the value, yep. So, and this is what we didn't really talk about. Like, okay, so if you're asking what time it is, right? So if I say ukalifia, so if I'm updating you on whatever time it is, I'm saying it has become this, it has become that. But in this case, just a slight contextual difference. Now I'm asking you, well, what time is the volleyball game? So you'll probably hear people say olivalu. They'll say at the 8th. The game is the 8th. But actually I'll save the second part of what I was going to say for later on, because we have specific examples. So this is great. So if you have any questions on that, feel free to hang around afterwards on any of this stuff here. It's a great thing to know and be fluent at, because it just makes you feel like you're doing well in your Samoan endeavors. So the next thing we're going to talk about is questions. Questions. And you know, people ask a lot of questions all the time in our culture. So let's go down each one of these. So Oi. Oi means who. Okay. Oi. Ofer is where. Ofer. And I used to get this confused with when people say when. So when is afer. Afer. But that's down here. We'll come back to that. But ofer, or if somebody just say fair, you kind of have to know the context of what they're talking about, whether they mean when or where. But a lot of times they're saying where. Okay. How is fa'apefer. Fa'apefer. That's a little bit more, I guess you could say it's a more formal way. Oa, that's another way to say how. And I guess an example of this when someone say like fa'apefer maui, like how are you? So that's one way to say it. Another way is oa maui. I'm pretty sure most of you all are familiar with that. So how both of them are saying how are you? One is a little bit more like maybe I don't know you like that, so I want to be a little bit more use a bigger word. But this one is more casual, you know, or my way. Fa'apefe my way. All right. Olea. So that is what, and this is actually a singular what. Okay. Oa by itself also means what, but it's plural. And we'll talk about the difference and do some examples. And we've kind of done all of these questions here and there. But we're gonna be specific today. When is afer? That should have a fatma mapa. Anafer. This is a past tense when. This is a future when. Okay. So future when, past tense when, and then this is like an abbreviated version of a future when. Ah, okay. And then there's Isaiah. Isaiah means why. All right. So let's get into these specific examples of each of these. Erase. Okay. Who? Oi. So Oi, we've been into sentence structure. So if you're have things kind of put in a structured format and you want to know like where at in the sentence structure that it goes. So we have Oi, that's our who, and then you just throw in a noun phrase after that. We don't need to say Oi olepule. We don't have to say another O because it's coming after our question. All right. So Oi lepule. Who's the boss? Who's the boss? Okay, so we just add a noun phrase. And this one we have an action phrase. And you know how we start our action phrase? We have our tense and then our action and then our subject. Okay, tense, action, subject. So oi, and then so that's our who, and then we go right into everything else. Everything that we've already learned. Tense, action, well, all that together, ave like took or take away. And then my car, la utavale. All of that is our subject. So that's our question. It's the only new thing that we're learning right now. So oi, who, na ave ese, took away. So it's past tense take, na ave ese, and then my car, la utavale. Oi nga ave ese, la utavale. Who took away my car? Who took my car? Okay, and then here's another one. Target phrase, same as location. So you can just do the who and then go right into the location. So all of this. So if this one is on the worksheet, we didn't actually talk about it too much, but whenever someone says like lie, you'll hear it a lot. They're talking about something that's over there. It's away from us. It's like la, like le la. Remember le la? So that's like there. And then lae, it kind of goes together, lae, and then inside of itutonu olefale, inside of the house. So who is that over there inside the house? Who is that? And then all of this is our location. Lae itutonu olefale. All right. So structurally speaking, this is kind of how everything is put together. Again, stop me if you have any question. All right, so that's who, or some examples for who. Next thing is how and what. So, and we kind of been talking about these every week. So there's oa is a way to say what, like oa maui, and then fa'apefe, like fa'apefe maui. So when we're talking about oa, if we put a le in the middle, remember le is going to make it singular. So oa by itself, that's that would be like a plural what in this context. So what is that? So what is that? Olea. So that's a singular what? Olea. And then lena is that thing. What is that thing? So this is singular. Olea. And it's singular because of the le. Lena means that. That's already a singular thing. So we're talking about another singular thing. Everything has to be, just like in the math problem, everything kind of has to be, not kind of, everything has to be you know, in the same line. So we have a singular what, a singular that, and then we're talking about thing. So what is that? What is that thing? So what is that? If we wanted to make it a plural, then we have to take away the le. So oa, you see the le is gone. Oa, and then we wouldn't say oa lenamea, because now we're saying plural what's, and then we're saying if we said lena, then we have a singular thing, so which wouldn't make sense. So we say oanamea. What are those? Okay, so lena is this, or I'm sorry, that singular, and then na is those plural. Okay, so oanamea, olealenamea, two different kind of statements. Very important. So this is one of those things that kind of takes practice, because you'll hear people say oleanamea, and automatically it's kind of or the opposite, walenamea. So you'll catch the ear of some people if you say that. The last one, which we gave this example several times, it could be used like oamaui, like how are you? How are you? And then if apefe maui. So yeah, so those are those examples. So that's how and what. Then we have when. Now when is affair. All of this goes together. You might see people spell it out like a and then fair. Affair. But this is going to be a future when. So we have future when, we got a past when, and then we also have there's actually others like hypothetical when, but we won't get into that right now. So affair is going to be our future when. And then we have a lot of times you'll see like o affair, especially like maybe in the Tusipaia, when they're being really formal, they'll spell it all the way out. For example, like this, o affair ete. So they'll put the o and then the affair, and then they go right into whatever the statement is going to be. We'll come back to that. Let me finish reading these up here. So usually introduces verb or action phrases. Okay. So if I say "o affair," like when, because you're asking when something is going to happen, when in the future, like and that's why it says introduces verbs, because we wouldn't say like "o affair William," "o affair Casey," like when that wouldn't make sense. So most of the time you're going to hear "o affair" or "affair" by itself, and then it starts into "ete aluyai." It's a verb phrase. There's an action involved with it. So you go. When you go, when are you gonna go? Or I'm sorry, yeah, when are you gonna go? Or affair ete aluyai. Can only be used with future or present tense markers. Yeah, so affair is gonna be it's a future when. So when you put the tense marker after it, when you line it up after with a the tense action subject statement, it's going to be future. So we wouldn't say o afea na e aluyai, because now I'm saying when will you went? When will you went? Let me write it out because just in case I don't want to make any assumptions here. So for example, I wouldn't say like o afea na e aluyai. Okay. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So this is a future when, right? If we said it all together, we'd say o afea. Okay. A lot of times people would drop that. They'll just say afea. We wouldn't say na because na is past tense, so that's past tense. And then afea is future tense. So both of these kind of they cross each other out, or they're just conflicting, so it wouldn't make sense. So afea is gonna go with a future tense or a present tense, like okay, because that kind of the is just gonna take on the tense of the future when. So a lot of times you'll hear o afea, and then it'll go with like the te aluyai. When will you go? When do you go? Okay. And then hopefully I didn't belabor that point, but it's important to make sure that those two coincide, future and future tense. And then you hit this I right here, or EI. It's not like eat or to eat or anything like that. It just kind of takes the place of the subject. It's just something that happens in the Samoan language a lot. So we're going to start doing that. And, I'll start adding it in a lot of things that a lot of our examples. For example, o afea ole a e aluyai. So if we go back down here, so we have, let me move this up. Okay. So afea. So we already have our when, our future when. Back, here we go. Tense. Ole a, that should be, okay. So that's our tense, future tense. And then we have, now we're talking about the pronoun e, so subject, and then our action. And then if you see here, we have ei. So in this case, we're starting with a preposition, so ei, so that's to it. When will you go to it? So the I right there, in this case, it represents a subject. And I hope I don't sound too academic because I don't like sounding like that, but it just represents a subject that's already understood. So if somebody asks you, when will you go there, or when will you go to it, the listener already understands what there is. You know what I'm saying? So if we're talking about a game, so yeah, the game was great. I want to go, and then someone says, when will you go to it? When will you go to it? So that is just something that is just said to substitute a subject, whatever the subject is, and this is understood. So that's what the I and EI is. And we'll have more examples of this. I don't want to confuse anybody with that. And then o afea. So here's another one. When, future when, e amata ai. So this one kind of leaves out the subject, but it's just o afea e amatai. So when will it start, or when will you start? Just depending on the context and who you're talking to. So future when. Okay, let me get that off. Okay, past tense when is anafea. Anafea. So anafea is used for past references. So just like with afea, we had to pair it up with the past tense markers. With anafea, we're gonna have to use it with with afea, we have to pair it up with future tense markers, or even the present, like or te. But with anafea, it's going to be past tense markers like na and sa. All right. Again, the o begins the question, but it's often omitted when people are speaking. they'll just drop the O. They'll just say Anafesa e aluiai. Anafesa e amakai. Or they'll say the whole thing. O anafesa e aluiai. Usually when you're reading stuff, they'll put the O in there. But that's more formal conversation. They'll probably drop it. Usually introduces verb action phrases just like in the last one. So it wouldn't make sense to set for someone to just say, when Malia what? So we wouldn't just have a noun phrase right there. We would have an action. When, so when is something going to happen? Or when, in this case, we're talking past tense, en affaire, when did something happen? And now we're talking about sa, past tense, you go. When will you go to it? When did you go to it? I'm sorry. O en affaire. O en affaire sa e aluiai. Or when did you go to it? And then o en affaire sa e amakai. Or amatai. So when did it start? All right. So it's important to have that past tense when with a past tense marker. Okay. No questions? All right. Where? Or fair. This is the one I would always mix up with when, because fair. But in this case, we're saying fair. So now noun phrase. Now this one you can just say a noun phrase after that. So if someone says ofele kama, ofele kama, ofele tama, where is the boy? So we can do that. Where is, and then whoever it is you're asking about, that's your noun, that's your subject. It can also come, you can put a whole action or verb phrase after it. Ofea, so here we go, where, and then past tense you, avatu, and then here's that word again, I. So it's just a particle, and again, it kind of takes the place of it's a subject. And like I said, they just kind of put it in there because it's already understood. So, I'm sorry, Ofer e avatuai la upeni. So where did you take my pen? So it's Ofer sa, that's our tense, past tense. You take it, my pen. Where did you take it, my pen? So o afer sa e avatuai la upeni. And I'm just gonna tense, subject, action. The I again is just because we started with a question for whatever reason, it just comes after a lot of times. And then la upin. Where did you take my pen? All right. And then it could also come whenever you see target, it's also like location. So I'm sorry, o fair, and then go right into the location or the target, which is gonna be la again over there inside. Oh, this should be my bad. Olefale. Itutonu olefale. Itutonu olefale. Where in the house? So this is more of an abbreviated question or response. Where inside of the house? La itutonu olefale. So where at? And then the I comes after the verb. Every time you see that, it just comes after the verb. Just like tense, action, subject, the I it comes after the verb. It's just a substitute for a subject that's already understood. Okay. Let me move a little faster. I was hoping to get to this activity today. So I say is the why, usually followed by a verb, because we're asking why this, why that, like why did this happen? So that's a verb. Usually has the reference I or EI, just like the other ones, and it asks the question. I and EI represent the target or location subject that needs to be answered. Okay, so for example, why did that happen? I say why, and then na, past tense, tupuai. Why did that happen? So, and here's our action. And then the I is just, because when we say I say after the action, you're gonna see that I, and it just represents a subject that's understood. Why did that happen? So why wait. I say na it why basically why did you yeah na I say na it point. Yeah, so what am I doing wrong here? I say na it point. Oh, okay. Yeah, I probably stated this wrong. I'll come back to that because I think I'm gonna confuse people with that. But basically, whenever you see I say the subject, the I is always going to be stated with the I say So I say na e aluiai. Why did you go there? Why did you go there? So we have our why, then we have our tense, subject, action, and then EI. So this one is like we're talking about a location. Why did you go to there? Okay. Why did you go to there? Tense, subject, action comes right after the ICI. And why questions I and EI follow the action. So this is more like, oh, why did you do that? I say na e tupuai. Like why did you make it happen? I could have worded that better. I'll leave that one alone. The reply to why. Okay, let's go to these. Awa, this one is kind of universal. I always use that one. Well, I used to only use this one because it fits with everything. Awa na ofi I. So if someone asks like I say na e why did you go there? Why did you go there? Awa na o fi I because I was hungry. That's why I went because. So these are kind of short answers, and it just kind of starts with awa, awa. Okay. If it's a bad reason, na oalu ilo ufale. So I went to my house because. So this is also because leanga ele yaise kupe. I didn't have any, I didn't have money. I didn't have money. So I went to my house because I didn't have no money. I didn't have money. Here's another because onna. This one usually comes before tense markers ua, sa, e, and te. Honestly, even at this point, I don't really know which one you would use, awa or onna. Like I said, for the longest, even now, I just say awa because it's pretty much universal. But if you want to use onna to go before these tense markers, ua, sa, e, and te, an example is e mangaia le tama ona ua sasa e lona tina. So the boy is nice because his mom sasa him. His mom has slapped him or disciplined him. And then the last one is ona o. So this is because of. Okay. And all of this we know already. So we have our tense olo'o tangi. Olo'o tangi. Tangi is to cry. So crying, olo'o tangi. We go back to week 2. And then the subject, who's doing the olo'o tangi? Letoyaina. So olo'o tangi letoyaina, the old man is crying because of. So we have ona o, lana, his, uotene, girlfriend, his girlfriend. So we can state it like this: olo'o tangi letoyaina, ona o, lana, uotene. Or we can even start our sentences like this. We can flip it around and say, Ono o lana uotene, because of his girlfriend, olo otangi le toyaina. He's crying. The old man is crying. All right. So that was a lot to take in there. It's up to you guys. So we can do our group activity, break into groups. And this one here is kind of review, but it's another sentence structure. We didn't really get into it too much. So we can either do this, the AEI, and I also have a worksheet on that that I gave it to you guys before, but it was like in the last few minutes of class, we didn't really go over it. So whatever you guys want to do in the last 10 minutes, we can either start with AEI or we can do this exercise for about 5 minutes. Actually, we may as well do it together because the group is kind of small. So whichever one you guys want to do, I'll take the first caller. We want to do the group activity together, or we want to do AEI sentence structure
Together.
together. Oh, so Oletala Noa, Vainga. Okay, let's do that one. So, all right. So on this one, all we were gonna do, and I guess whoever wants to volunteer. So someone says Talofa, and then Oloingo o, then you just say your name, Viliamu. Oailo Ingoa. So I'm asking you what your name is. So Oailo Ingoa, or I could say Oailo Suafa. And then whoever wants to say this part, if nobody says it, then I'll just say it myself. But then so Talofa, Olo Ingoa o Viliamu, Oailo Ingoa. Yeah, Oailo Ingoa.
Olo
And then so
umingo o Casey.
Talofa Casey. Okay. And then what am I supposed to say after that? And then okay. Okay, yeah. So that was the fill in the blank part. Olealite mi ole vasenga. Olealite mi olo vasenga. So what time is your class? So I'm not sure where you live at. So you would just you would state your time. So how would you state your time?
Ole se folutasi le tayao.
Yeah, or listen for are you in or listen for Lutasi Latayao?
I'm in Japan.
Oh wow, okay. Wow, okay. I was like, wow, that's way different time. Okay, awesome. So yeah, right. So I'm saying, dang. Okay, so ole se fulutasi le tayao. So 11 in the morning. Okay, so that's for her, that would be her answer. If you were to just say ile, so this is another short way to answer something. So in the what time? So I'm in the Midwest, so over here it's 9:51. So I would say Ileiva. So if someone says Oleale temi Oleale temi Olova or Olava Senga, either one, people would say it both ways. And then I would say here, I would say Ileiva, just real short like that, Ileiva. Or you could say Ole se fulutasi ile tayao. So 11 in the morning. There's several different ways to say it, which is the way, I was wanted to point all of these out. But the short answer, if you're in California, some of you I think are from Carson and up north in California on the West Coast, il fitu, in the 7. So location phrase to the 7. Ethiopia Tangata Ilevasenga Zoom. I don't know how to break that out, so I won't translate it. But if anyone has the answer, you could just blurt it out there. Ethiopia Tangata Ilevasenga Zoom.
Ito se fululua.
Ethiopia Fululua. Okay. All right. So does anyone know what she says? And she's correct. Well, I don't know how many
people.
Yeah, it's 12 people. And it's great and because she says eto'a. Remember, anytime we're talking people, we have to say eto'a. And then she says sefululua. So we put the number in the class. Oh yeah, it's right there, participants. Okay. And then ofer ete alumoi. Oh, I'm sorry. O afer ete alumoi. And this is a short way to say it. There's other ways to say it as well. But if someone asks you, "O afer ete alumoi," what time, whatever time it is, you can just plug it in, whatever it is you're gonna say. Me, I
Ochele mwe.
oh, say again.
Ochele mwe.
Oh, tele more. Yeah, so you don't sleep. He don't sleep. Oh, that's another thing I wanted to bring up. Someone asked about le and le. Le and le. You brought up perfect example in these last couple minutes. I guess I'll cut this activity short. So he said, "O te le moi, moi." Okay, so o te moi means I sleep, but if he says o te le moi, then we just negate it. We make that negative. So I forget who asked that, or even if they're here today, but the le with the famamafa over with the e is gonna make that not sleep. So I don't sleep. I not sleep. I don't sleep. O te le moi. All right. Can you say both o le se fulu ile po? So and ile. People use them interchangeably. There's a slight contextual difference. I'm gonna copy this. Wait, let me see. No, we got a few minutes. I could talk about that. So if someone says ole se fulu ile po, so they're saying the 10 in the night, 10 in the night. And then if someone says ile se fulu ile po. So a lot of times people just say if someone were to ask where's the question at? O afer ete alumoi. They would you said most of the time I'll just say what I hear. They'll say like se fulu ile po. Like they wouldn't even add the rest of it on there. But if they were to say ile, they would just say ile se fulu, the 10, to the 10. So when do you sleep to the 10? Some people might say like ole se fulu. It's hard for me to say like what's right, what's wrong, or what's the most common way, because I've heard it so many kind of ways. But the most, if to abbreviate it, and that's why I put it there, people would just say ile se fulu, like this is when I go to sleep. I go to sleep ile se fulu. Okay. But any other kind of way that might be depending on who you're talking to. So I don't want to confuse anybody. Let's go to the last one. I say so why ete fia oa'u a'ua'uai le fa'asamoa. So what does it say? Anyone know that one?
Why do you want
You
to
want to learn Samoan?
Yeah, why do you want to learn Samoan? In context, it could be Samoan culture, or it could be, in this case, we're talking about Samoan language, so we know we're talking about, Samoan language, Samoa. So, and then you could either start with one of these because awa, it could be ona, it could be because of, the shame that I felt in my family, or the mocking or whatever, or it could be leanga, and then whatever the bad reason is. So these are some things that you guys can work on. I'll upload this slide. If you guys have any questions, we'll end it right here. Let me see what we have next coming up. The next thing is going to be AI. Okay, so we'll get back into this. Someone had a question about that. If you're here, I can answer it again, but we're going to go over it as a class on Thursday. So this will be the next sentence structure that we do. And then the last sentence structure that we do before we just do straight reviews for the next couple of weeks is going to be starting with subjects. So when we start with subjects, you'll see this all the time, especially in American writings. I won't say American Samoa, but here in America, when you see like literature, instead of tense, action, subject, location, they'll start it like this. They'll say oletama, okay, or oleoleo. So this one right here is both of these are subjects. So we have the boy, then we have tense na ta'u or ta'umai. So told to me, both of that's our action, or ta'umayai. So the I is kind of like a substitute for what's already known, and it's already known because we said it in the front. Or letama na ta'umayai leupumoni, the truth. So the boy told me the truth. The boy told to me the truth. So we start with a subject, then tense, action, and then another subject. All of that would be subject. So we'll get into this in more detail on in our next class, but that'll be our last subject. I'm sorry, sentence structure that we go through. If you have any questions, hang around and ask them. If not, then see you guys on Thursday. Manuel Lepo, Manuel Leaso over there in Japan, and Samoa, wherever else you guys are at. Pase fuat.
Passa for Taylor.
Mano,
Faço
mano,
fuat.
fa tailava.
Passe for.
Pase fuat.